something to scream about.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the podcast that is Something to Scream About.
It seriously sounded like you're about to do an emergency
an audio
warning.
book or something.
Or an audio, I was thinking emergency warning. Tidal wave is coming for you all. Please evacuate now.
Yeah, it was kind of that and a combination of a sleep hypnosis track of calming sounds.
Nothing like putting our audience to sleep.
Yeah, true. And after that intro music where we're screaming and then it's like comes in like that, I think it's going to be
Something to scream about. Hello, everybody. How you going?
good evening and welcome.
Anyway.
Good evening or good day, wherever you are in the world. Hello and welcome to the podcast that is Something to Scream About. As I was saying, on today's podcast, it is January 29th, 2022. We are nearly a month from our last one. And what's been happening, boys? What have we been up to?
Anniversary since Propaganda dropped.
Yep.
First song, we're 1 year later, just almost very, very recently.
Yeah.
First EP, we're already dropping a second EP within a year of the first one. So doing well.
Very nice.
Exciting
and
stuff.
our song E.K.O. that dropped on New Year's Eve has nearly amassed 10,000 streams. Thanks to everyone.
10,000 people. Woo!
Woo! Yeah, nice little cheeky milestone.
It's actually doing
awesome.
so good that it's making our other songs look bad.
Yeah.
Like your Spotify, it's like 10,000. We're like, oh, sweet. And then the next song's like 2,000. We're like, oh.
Oh, yeah. Well, it still looks good. We're grateful regardless.
Extremely.
And yeah, so that's been fun. We've been working on new music and stuff. Today on the show, it's not really a show, but today on the podcast, we have our very first special guest, cha-ching, who hopefully is going to give us a call in about 10 minutes. So
Who is that guest, Jordan Alexander?
that guest is none other than Luke. I don't know whether I should say his last name. I'm going to anyway. Luke Thompson, the bass player and I think backup vocalist. It's fair to say. I'll let him introduce himself properly when he gets on for the band Void Matter here in Brisbane. So shout out to those boys and thanks
Hell
Luke
yeah.
for coming on. Well, I'm pre-thanking you, hoping that you are going to call. So thank you for coming on. We're going to have a quick chat to him and find out what they've been up to and, new music plans, what they've been doing as a band and anything we can learn from them. So that's exciting. We also have a few other things. We have a quick, maybe new segment about a funny story that...
Or a sad story?
Or a sad story,
a
actually.
story that changed your life.
Yeah, story
You know,
time.
it's just called story time. So
New segment called Story Time. Story Time. Then, so that we might save that till after Luke calls, or you could start it. I mean,
Nah,
might
we'll
go
do it after because it'll take it'll take it.
Yeah.
Let's do
We're also in the show going to be discussing a topic, the main topic of the day, which is probably on the title, so you already know what it is.
adaptation.
Or adaptability, yeah. Adaption or adapting, the art of adaptation. That's what we're
my
gonna
friend.
Yeah. Yes.
You like water, my friend.
So yeah, we're gonna have a quick chat about that. Mainly because we're inspired by, I won't say inspired, frustrated. I don't know what I'm saying. The North Lane show was cancelled and postponed for a second time, and
Yeah.
we just are seeing constant bands and stuff have to adapt all the time. And it just thought, let's bring up this topic of adaptability and how we can teach ourselves to be more adaptable. I'm saying that word far too many times already. In every situation, both music and outside.
It's true.
Comprende?
Comprende.
Si, senor. Awesome. So when Luke comes on, let's have a little bet.
Okay.
What's this bet?
Okay. You're looking at me nervously.
Yeah, like what the
We're very nervous.
What's going on?
It's just a bet. Like, so it's not like,
$1 million.
do you think he's going to say this? Do you think he's going to say that? Well, it is that actually, really. But not in a bad way. I just want to know if we can kind of predict his answer. Okay?
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
the question I was going to ask him, I don't know if I've written it down on the iPad. Probably haven't. Yes, I did. There we go. It's on the iPad. Favorite thing about the industry. I'm going to ask him this question. What's his favorite thing about the industry? What do you guys think that Luke's favorite thing about the music industry is? Or
I think he's going to say the people you meet.
That was going to be my answer.
You copy me all the time. Every time I say something, he's like, I was going to say that.
I was,
I second
but
that.
okay.
Morgan, I second that. Coventry.
Sure. That's my new nickname.
It's better
than the last.
Yeah.
What was the last? Just kidding.
I guess
Yeah.
I have to come up with something else now.
You do now, yeah.
The experiences.
The experience, yeah.
I don't know.
So
the
you
things
think
can
the-
experience
yeah.
from being in a band and being on stage and being in that position.
Yeah.
What about
So
you, Jordan?
I'm thinking that, like, you kind of stole what I was going to say, but it's more like the live. I reckon he loves the fucking live aspect. I reckon he loves getting up there and screaming his little heart out and playing heavy riffs.
Slapping the bass.
Yeah. Actually, we should ask him that. Can he slap the bass?
Yeah, I don't actually know
He's a
if he
bass
can.
player, of course he could. You
Let's.
would assume
Okay.
so.
So you think yes. So this is the second bet. You think yes, Luke can slap the bass. Morgan?
I reckon he would have tried, or at least given it a try to learn it,
Yeah, you'd think so.
because it's such a sick way of playing it.
Yeah, I think he's definitely tried it. He's going to go, oh, hell yeah, or something along those lines. The reason I like this kind of betting and wanted to introduce guessing is because I like the idea of predictions and trying to predict what's going to happen.
Like
predict an
showing
outcome.
similarities between people too. It's
Yes.
like we don't know what he's going to say or what anyone's going to say, and we're like, oh, this is what we sort of think.
Yeah, so
And
this
then
is
they
like
go
an
and
outside perspective, and
say
then
the
it's
same
like,
thing, or
you
they might
know,
say something different.
yeah, you know when you like have a partner quiz or something, or your best friend, and it's like, answer these 10 questions
well do you
about
know
your
each other, or
how well do you know
yeah.
each other, and it's like, then you realize how well you don't actually know them. I'm thinking that that's going to be an example of what's going to happen today.
I'm keen to see what similarities as well as differences both of our bands have in regards to live shows, first experiences, mistakes. Like, it's going to be really cool to be able to like hear where he's gone wrong and where he's gone right, and like see if we're done the similar sort of thing. That'd be pretty cool too.
100%. That's going to be really cool and hopefully helpful for other people to listen to, because that's kind of the point of getting guests on, is to obviously learn a little bit about them and what they're doing, but also take some of the lessons that they've learned on their
100%.
journey along the way.
Grow off of each other.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily think it's always going to be just someone from a band, although we may not even have a guest every time, but, you know, having people on from outside of bands in terms of music industry reps or whatever, people who write articles and magazines and A&R and all this. So getting these people's perspective should be helpful. So
It's like similar when we were saying about the getting someone else's perspective on like mixing and mastering. Even though we mix and master our own music, it'd be cool to in the future send some stuff to other people just to get that outside, like, oh yeah, your guitars are panned like this, you should try and do this, or layer them like that, or you know, your bass is too whatever in the mix. Like, just it'd be cool just to hear that outside perception of
a fresh set of ears.
Yes.
And if someone, like we were saying the other day, if someone can get your song an extra 10% better, why not? The only reason I can see why not is because it's too damn expensive, and I'd rather do it myself.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're already mixing and mastering yourself, it's not as desirable, but it's still needed, and it's still like, you know, every now and then. But I wouldn't do it for every track. If you weren't mixing and mastering your own stuff, then it's
Yeah.
because you don't really know what you're hearing. You're like, oh, this is what I've done. Can you tell me? And then someone with a educated ear can be like, oh yeah, it's, you know, this, and this.
Yeah. Like, I'd love to have Nolly as a friend who's willing to listen to every mix that I send him.
Every
And critique
single
it.
mix.
Critique it in detail.
a bit of an
with
ask.
full-on dot points.
Nolly can put. Speaking of putting people to sleep, I think Nolly is the most ASMR voice you'll ever bloody hear.
He is. He sweetly talks me to sleep.
Hello, my name's Nolly.
We're going to just make some nice slight EQ moves.
Yes, and this is the drum, and you have to compress it in the way that it's like, oh,
Yeah, it's like, sorry, what? Although he's very, very talented. And we found
Crazy
out that
talented.
he obviously mixes a lot of big bands. And we found out in turn that a lot of big bands get their stuff mixed and mastered by other people. And there's a chain of people involved with a lot of records. So it's not just, you know, Joe and Gary from the band that write it. I don't know why I chose those names, but Joe and Gary. And then there's the other people, like the producer that they worked with, or the engineer that they recorded the song with, or whatever, mixing, mastering, so on and so forth. So I don't know whether we're going to end up doing that. What do you reckon? Should we get someone else to... So we should get some opinion. I think it's good at least to get a few opinions on the mix.
We could do it for a single.
Oh yeah, I do it for a one-off track here and there, but I wouldn't do it for an entire body of work because I would like to mix and master the entire body of work within a goal or an image in mind of like, you know. But I'd totally send a song to them and be like, "What do you think?" And they could be like, "Oh, you're drowning out your drums with this, or you're layering too much width in, and it's fighting with the." You know, the width of the guitars and you blah, blah, just whatever advice they give would be really cool. And then I would take down those notes and apply them in new mixes.
Yeah, sick. I think that's a great idea.
Unless we've made it and we're a huge band and we can afford a freaking $2,000.
Yeah, I was going to say it's very much cost, isn't it?
Yeah, it's more of a money thing, but like, you know, egotistically, I don't really care. Like, I mix master my own stuff, you mix master your own stuff. It's like, we know how to do it. It's not like, oh, I need to do it. And that'll be that. Here's Leaky Boy, boys.
Here
Ready?
we go. G'day.
Ahoy, hoy. How are we?
Well, very
Howdy,
good.
howdy.
Is that Mr. Luke Thompson from Void Matter?
It is I.
That's so cool. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. I'm just getting ready to go to a gig tonight. I've cracked my first drink.
Oh,
and now I get
nice.
to chat to you lovely people.
That's
Love
so
that.
cool. So tell us a little bit about the gig. What are you going to watch, or are you playing, or what's going on?
I'm going to watch tonight. Going as a punter. Finally get to see Stepson. They've had to reschedule this tour like 3 or 4 times, and it's finally happening.
We
now.
were just talking about the topic of adaptability and having to, you know, adapt to changing of shows and cancellations, postponements, etc., etc. So,
dude, it is happening rampantly around at the moment. Like, if you're not able to adapt to like sudden changes like that, then it's going to be really hard. Like, for example, we were supposed to play a gig on the 22nd, and that's been postponed. And then we were gearing up to go to Emerald in February, but that was also postponed. And so it's like, okay, just like
wow,
get rid of the leave, like change your whole weekend plans and stuff. So it's not too bad, but if you're not down to compromise and adapt,
100%,
it's not going to work out for you.
Yeah, and that's where like these bigger bands are ending up losing out so much money with all these things that we've booked. Like, you know, we're fortunate we're not losing it. We lose, like, as you say, taking time off and all of this type of stuff off other jobs and whatever. You just have to switch plans around and you end up losing so much. So 100% agree. That would be good for you to go out tonight. Why don't you just tell us, if you can, a little bit about yourself as a bass player and you and Void Matter, and
Alrighty.
sort of who you guys are, and give us an intro.
Well, first off, my name is Luke Alexander Thompson. I'm 31 years old, Capricorn. And I play bass and do backing vocals for the Brisbane metalcore band Void Matter.
Amazing.
We have been together since about 2018, playing shows together since 2019. Been lucky enough to play all over Queensland.
Sick.
Haven't broken down to the interstate shows yet, but
that's all right.
You know,
always time.
It's a product of the times.
Yep.
Yeah, very true, very true. So you guys released a EP towards the end of last year, was it? Or
I think it was about this time last year.
Okay, yeah, so about a year ago, and it's doing well for you guys. I particularly have been listening to it a few times. I know we've jammed it at a few drinks and
every time
and stuff.
Jam it.
Yeah. So we do jam it out
Thanks,
a fair
guys.
bit. But what's sort of coming up music wise for you guys? And like sort of what's your process in the studio getting to a track? Like how does the EP come about? How do you guys, whose sort of ideas and how do you sort of juggle that?
Okay, sure. Well, we'll start off with what's coming up.
Yes. Sorry, a lot of questions. I'm not very good at this. I'm only learning.
It's my first day. So we've been working pretty hard to get a new single out. We haven't got a release date that we've announced as of yet, but it'll be coming out real soon. I can tell you a little bit about the song. I know that I've played the demo for you guys when we've been hanging out previously.
Oh, yes. Okay, I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, it's been through a few different iterations. Like we've rewritten lyrics and changed structure probably about 4 times through this process. But man, it's really starting to come together. We just got the final mix back from our producer, and we're about to send it off to be mastered. And the last 48 hours or so, I've been in full-on music video planning mode. So we've got some exciting stuff coming up pretty soon.
That's very cool, man. I like that. So talking of like iterations and stuff, you're saying, it's gone through so many things. Like we're feeling that hard out over here.
I bet.
We're just like, you go off in one direction and you sort of follow your ideas, and then you think that you've got it sussed, and then you might have to go back to the drawing board a few times. Also, like juggling between different interests of band members of where they want to particularly take the song,
yes,
and that kind of thing. So, how do you guys juggle who does what and who brings what ideas to the table?
It changes from song to song, but the way that we've mostly done it is our guitarist Dizzy. He often comes up with like the initial idea, like a riff or a chorus or something like that, and he'll mostly work on that at his place for a little while, and then when he's got something that he's proud of, he'll show it to the rest of us, and then that's when Crispy and I get together at my place, and we'll put the demo into my DAW and chop it, change it, start like really repeating parts over and over again to try and get some lyrics down. Like generally we try and get the chorus first and then figure out what the song's about, and then really try and like focus in on that sort of theme or whatever it may be. Like if it's a personal thing or like if it's something that we feel people can relate to. Because like from a songwriting perspective, we don't really have like a set thing that we do. Like we always try and like to keep our horizons broad.
Yeah.
Like not every single one of the songs is based off something that's personally happened to us. Like, well, yeah, that song from our last EP, Harakiri. Yeah, we've never been in a samurai fight, but that's what it's about.
Very cool.
And then after that, it goes like back and forward. If there's any problems with the lyrics, then the boys let us know, and we work together as a team to really polish everything off.
Sick. I love the sound of that. That's really cool. It's like it's just so interesting to learn how everybody else balances what they do and balancing opinions. Just one
it's
thing.
Especially
sorry, yeah.
It's especially interesting when like each group member is like playing to their strengths. Like for example, like I can write guitar like a little bit, but then I'll have this like half-baked idea, and then I'll bring it to Diz, and he'll go, "Oh, like maybe something like this," and then it's like, "Oh, 1,000 times better. Thank you." Get a guitarist perspective on it. Everybody's perspectives is different.
Yeah, that's very true. The one thing I was going to say was, have you ever had any times when you've run into conflict? Like Cam and I speak about fucking taking our own passions way further than we need to sometimes and clashing heads over ideas. But at the end of the day, both ideas probably just as valid. It's just what's best for the song and our own opinions. So have you guys had that?
Recently, I was writing a song that some of the members some of the other boys didn't agree with. And pretty much there was a couple of days of like some pretty high tension, like everybody like not like getting mad at each other or anything like that, but like a lot of passionate campaigning for their own point of view,
100%.
which I think is the healthiest thing. Like if you're gonna disagree with somebody and be like, nah, fuck you, then you're not gonna get anywhere.
That's it.
You've got to be able to talk about it like adults, and like sure you might get a little bit upset, but at the end of the day, you guys are brothers, and you got to make it work between like the band members. Otherwise, it's not gonna work.
100%. Totally agree, man. Morgan's got some questions. I don't know what's next on the thing.
I've got another question.
Morgan.
Hey, I'm here too. So here's another question. Has there been any lessons that you've learned during this process of writing this latest single?
Writing the latest single? There's definitely been some lessons in recording. We chose a new producer to work with on this track, Ione Heckenberg from Ocean Sleeper.
Cool.
He's and he has been really, really awesome. Hey, when we first approached him, he like went and checked out our stuff and was like, "Yep, I can work with your sound." And then I asked him like, "So what? How do you want me to do this? Like, I'll do whatever you think is best." And so he told me all these particular ways that he wanted me to record guitar, and I learned that the way I've been tracking vocals doesn't really work so well. So.
All right.
What do you mean? Tell us a bit about
Yes.
it. Like, just because, we're obviously producer nuts too, so we're keen to learn.
In this particular song, we went for it, trying to get vocal harmonies in our chorus. But we've never really done, like, we're not classically trained or anything like that. So the original plan was to get a proper like vocal producer and go record vocals with them, but then because of like money and availability, it just didn't work out. So we're like, well, screw it, we'll just do it ourselves. We'll get a few of our trusted mates in to give us a hand with the harmonies and stuff like that. And it went well. We spent probably 4 hours or so like really feeling out these harmonies and stacking them up and trying to make it sound really, really sweet. But then once I sent them to him, he came back to me and was like, "Oh, well, these are pretty much unusable." I'm like, "Oh,
Damn.
great, awesome."
Damn. Yeah.
But yeah, no. Now that he's gone through the whole process, we're happy with the product and we want to use him again. He's like, "Okay, well, next time we'll have a bit more of an in-depth chat about how you're going about the whole process and whatever." So, like, even if you think you're good at something, there's always opportunity to learn.
Very
Always.
true. Wise words.
Love that. Also, another thing. What's your favorite thing about being in a band? What's about being in this industry?
Dude, being on stage. That's the best.
There you go.
Jordan.
Yes.
Bitch.
Sorry, we were having bets about what you'd say, and I fucking nailed it, obviously.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you've known me a long time, Jordan. I've known you since we were, 18 years old?
That's very true, actually. I have a lot of, history bias on leaning on my side, but sorry, keep going with that.
What did the other boys say? What did they reckon?
I thought that it would be the people that you meet and making mates and stuff.
And I said it would be
that's
the
pretty fun.
experiences. I said it would be the experiences that you
Which
could
is pretty
get
close to being on
Yeah,
stage.
it's kind of close.
Yeah, you can have a half point, Morgan.
All right, I'll take that.
That's awesome. Sorry, yeah, tell us a bit more about it, like being on
Ken's
stage.
right, though. I absolutely do love meeting people. Like, if you ever see me at a gig, like, you'll see me being all jolly and drunk and
That's very true.
chatting to anyone and everyone.
That's probably how we
little
met.
social butterfly. Yeah.
I think sometimes it's just as fun to go and watch a gig as it is to play one as well. I feel like we've been getting into that a bit more. Like, we hope to get into it this year, is to just go as like fans to like watch other people play and have some beers as well as go play live too.
It's the best, dude, and you learn so much. Like, even just like standing there watching the dudes on stage, and like especially if you know the songs, if they play them differently to get like a certain effect, happening in the crowd and whatever. Like, yeah, I absolutely love going to gigs.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so excited for tonight. It'll be my actually, have I been to a gig this year?
It's not very much into the year, but
no.
It's been hard.
Oh no, I was supposed to. I was supposed to go to Full Tilt. That thing's been fucking rescheduled again.
Full Tilt.
Yeah, we were talking about that. When's your new metal show?
We'll be coming to that.
Oh, the one at Mo's.
You just March
18th. That was just announced yesterday or day before or something like that. Yeah, dude, that's a killer lineup. Hey,
yeah,
we'll be there.
Who's on it? We the Hollow. They're a new-ish band. They've only played a couple of shows before, but like they've got a big amount of hype around them already. So I'm excited to see them.
Sick.
Awaken Time, the fucking boys. We've been playing shows together for ages. Love those boys. And then there's us. Like, you can see us if you want, but the real party is Resurrection, man. They do all those 90s new metal covers. So yeah, that's a big plus.
That'll be fun.
That'll be so cool. Yeah, we love that kind of stuff. So that'll be exciting to come and see that.
Absolutely.
Dope. You got any others, Morgan?
Do you want to take over, or am I continuing?
Give it to Cam. There you go.
Cam's time.
Cam's got some questions.
No
What was the other thing we had a bet on?
I think that was it, wasn't it?
I'm pretty sure that was it.
All right.
Oh, but yeah, no, sorry. Morgan wanted me to talk about being on stage, and there's nothing quite like it.
Yeah.
Like, especially when you put all this time and effort and money into like being in the studio, like the grind of like actually putting a song together, like the writing process, the editing, the back and forth between producers, and then the back and forth between videographers and everything like that, to finally be able to go out and play it for a bunch of people that are stoked to see it and hear it.
Yeah,
There's
100%.
Like, seeing all those smiling faces headbanging back at you and giving you the devil horns and congratulating you after the show, it's beautiful. It's wonderful.
That's
it's
very
my happy
cool.
place.
So much effort goes into it for such a, like a 4-minute performance. It's like months and months of work just to do those 4 minutes. So it's really cool to get up there. All right, Luke. So if you weren't involved with music, what do you think you'd be doing with yourself?
Probably not too much,
I'd be
man.
going crazy.
Probably
I
not much.
can't imagine my life without music. Like,
same, bro.
I suppose like it used to be that way. Like up until I started this band, like I was always dabbling in like a little bit here and there, but ever since starting the band, it's been like a lot more of a focus of mine. And before that, I think it was like pretty much I'd go drinking with mates or like sit at home and play video games. That was about it. Like if I was on a health kick, I'd go to the gym, but that's not all the time.
That's true. I remembered what we had a bet on, Luke. It's a simple yes or no question. Have you ever slapped the bass?
No comment.
Holy pizza.
Okay, let's just go with, have you ever played slap bass before?
No, I haven't. I can't do it. I'm a terrible bass player.
Why would you bring that up? I specifically asked to not answer that question.
I've said from the beginning of the band that like, yeah, I'm not a bass player. I'm a vocalist and producer who plays bass.
Right. Good wording. That's cool. But you have tried. So
yeah, like I can do the thumb. I can't do the slap pop. Like I can't get real funky with it.
Yeah.
It's very difficult, and you do need some hectic string tension for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which we don't really have in Drop A.
No, that's right.
That's another thing we can talk about.
50 scale inch
Is
bass.
what's your scale length on your bass?
I think it's 27 and a half.
What?
Maybe even longer.
It's got to be longer than that, right?
I've got no idea then.
It'd be 34 for sure.
Mine's 34.
Yeah, it'd be 34. All right. You
Let me
play
do a
5
quick
string?
Google. Yes.
Yeah, it'd be 34. It'd have to be.
Right. So, have you seen the announcement about the new Ibanez? I guess like a version of the Dingwall.
They're coming out with a competitor with it's $2,000 cheaper than a Dingwall.
My eyes are glued on them.
36 or 37 inch
37-inch scale length on their B string.
Yeah, it can hold drop F like easy as with some thicker gauge strings on it. So good for low tuning, son.
Because you're in A, did you say, Luke?
Yeah, drop A. It's not too bad for a 5-string. Like you literally just like drop the bass string by 2 semitones. But
standard.
That's
standard,
what
comes standard E.
Yeah,
with the
my
low
bass
A
is sat in A.
And I googled it. It is a 35-inch scale.
There you go.
There you go.
Not far off.
Yep, so you're an inch bigger than Morgan.
No, smaller. Oh no, bigger. Yeah.
That's sick. Well, yeah, we've just been sort of playing around with ideas for bass sounds and sort of crafting things. So, like crafting the tone. Sorry.
The thing about bass tones in metal at the moment is everybody wants the same one. Everybody wants that really like chunky dingwall dark glass kind of sound.
Sound, bro. Everyone wants the nolly sound.
Everybody wants it.
Because it just does this. Yeah. Scoop.
And because of that, like I've never really like dialed in like my bass too much. Like I always, because like chances are at the gigs, you're probably going to be using somebody else's gear. Like, I don't know about you guys. Like, I know you guys are like massive gear heads and stuff like that. Me, I literally just bring my bass. And if there's a cab, if somebody's got a cab I can use, I'll use it. But if not, then I'll just go DI straight into the front of house.
Wait, you go just DI bass straight in the front of house? No pedals, anything?
I do have my Sans amp. So I've got a bass driver, but like, yeah, it's nothing like nothing crazy.
Well, we're going to be coming out with bass tutorials soon, all right? So just stay tuned for them on YouTube, mate. We're actually doing some sick ones, so that'll be dope.
Nice. You're going to use that Alpha Omega?
What do we have?
We have the aggressive, the Atom one.
Yeah, the Atom. We got Atom.
Aggressively distorting
it's
something.
Similar to Alpha Omega, which is the other pedal. Yeah, dark glass. So that mixed with the Axe Effects pedals too is like it's going to be insane. So definitely keep an eye out for those. All right, do you want to hit him with one last question before we let him go?
Okay. Yep. Do you have one?
Yeah, right here.
Okay.
Right here.
All right, Lukey Pookie. What is your top 3 bands in the world? And then I'll also ask who's your top 3 bands in Australia specifically.
Okay. Whenever I'm asked this question, I've got to keep the answers kind of similar.
Yes.
The number one has got to be the first band that introduced me to metal, which has got to be Slipknot.
Very cool.
I'm a sucker for the nostalgia. Like the first 3 albums will always have a place in my heart. The later stuff, like they can do whatever they want. They're like the biggest metal band in the world, so good for them. But it's not really my cup of tea. Yeah. Bring Me the Horizon. Yeah. Like just the progression of their career, like going from a deathcore band to having the number 1 record on Billboard charts. That's ridiculous. And now they just released that Die For You song, and it sounds like a freaking Justin Bieber track, but I still love it. It's catchy as fuck.
It's very catchy, but I'm quite against that direction. But as you say, they can do what they like. They're a big band. They're big boys. They can do what they like.
Absolutely.
Sick. Number 3?
And number 3 would probably have to be it'd have to be like a toss-up between like A Day to Remember and Him. Like,
all right.
I saw them both live in the same day at Soundwave 2011, and that was
good
one of the best days of my freaking life. Billy Vallow's got such amazing vocals. I think I'm saying his name right. I've only ever seen it written. And A Day to Remember, dude, they've got just that perfect mix of melodic and heavy. It's kind of like everything that I aspire to as a songwriter. Like I really want to get people singing along, but then the next second have them like banging their heads and destroying shit.
That's amazing. Aussie bands then. Yeah.
Aussie bands.
Can be like they can be like small and little bands, or just like North Lane or anything.
Well, the my favorite at the moment of like the bigger Australian bands has got to be Polaris. Yeah, those dudes
are
incredible. They're like they've definitely got that kind of Architects sort of riff style, but like the way that they write their songs is so beautiful. That latest album of theirs, that was one of the
really
best.
Cool. And they did like a version or something too. It was really sick on Triple J.
Yeah, the Black Fingernails Red Wine. Yeah, that was cool.
That was really adaptable. Hint, hint.
Let's see. What's some other like? I'm trying to think of like local bands that have really blown me away. Fucking. Yeah, I didn't think about the locals before this.
That's all right. It's a tough question. I'll give you one. Distorted Views. Bias.
Fucking I'll put yous on there. Why not?
Let's see. Wicked. Well, yeah, don't worry about that. Cool. We'll
North Lane could be the third.
Yeah, North Lane's sick. And yeah.
Why not?
All right. Dope, man. Well, thank you so much for joining us, bro. We really appreciate your phone call. It was perfectly on time as well. 2:15. Nice work.
Yeah. I pride myself on my punctuality.
Yeah, very good. Very good. So all the best with the new single. Excited to hear about it.
Thanks so much, guys. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, cool. And say hi to the lads for us.
Yeah, have fun.
We'll do.
tonight.
And yes, we'll have to have some drinks again soon.
Sounds good.
For sure.
Sick, bro. Well, catch you later, man. See you soon.
Thanks heaps, boys. Peace out.
Buddy.
See you, mate.
Bye.
Sick. So that was Luke from Void Matter.
That was
Nice.
nice.
That was great.
That was really nice. Isn't he nice?
He's lovely.
You
Yeah.
sound
Yeah.
like a grandmother. Like
I was waiting for him to say Distorted Views. I was like, local bands, they could be small, upcoming
you could
bands.
not have hinted any harder. Yeah, it could be anyone. A small band, possibly lives in Brisbane.
Yeah, possibly hosts a podcast that you're currently on. Anyway, thank you,
You're
Luke.
like a girl fishing for a compliment.
I am really, aren't I? Yeah. And
hell.
I can't remember what I said about the bass slapping, but I won the first one. I won the first bet, so I'm stoked.
I said
enough about that.
he's attempted it.
Attempted it. Yeah.
So-
Yeah, so I think you get that
he
one,
has
Morgan.
attempted it.
All right, and
1.5 points.
Oh, so you're now, so you're 1.5, and I'm 1, and Cam, you
Zero.
did well.
Don't have any friends.
That's epic. Okay, so maybe we can. Thanks, Luke. That's done. Awesome. Maybe we can move on to adaptability, and
Yeah.
or do you want to
Go
go
into
into
that bit.
story time?
Do a bit of both, mate. Do a bit of both. Bit of A, bit of B.
¿Por qué o
bit
no
of one,
estás?
bit of two. Let's go adaptability, right, mate?
All right, adaptability. Let's just adapt to the situation.
That's the
and
situation and talk about
Go
adaptability.
for it.
Until cancelled again.
yes, we did hear that mentioned again, didn't we? Luke said the same thing.
Yeah. So here's your transit, right?
You what?
Whatever. Just
Transition.
Yeah. I was thinking of Call of Duty Transit, that
Yeah.
pod map.
Right.
Anyway, to the conversation we are now forking to. So, like, you can see that other people are also dealing with the same crap that we are, and it's cool to be able to see, like what we were saying before, we got Luke on, is the similarities between people, and we didn't even say anything, he brought it up first.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, I'm so bummed, Full Tilt's cancelled, and oh, we had to reschedule this, and I'm only going to this show now because it was rescheduled from last time, and it's like, see, we're all dealing with it, man. We're all
Yeah.
dealing with it, and it's just... having to not let it get to you. I've had that chat with you boys quite a few times where I'm about to lose my bloody mind, and I'm just like, because I don't see an end in sight for all the crap that's going on. Nothing necessarily specifically that we can really talk about on air, but like just everything that I'm sure you all know listening to this. It's like just dealing with it all. It's like, holy crap. Some days it just feels like, can we just get over it?
Yeah.
Can we get over it, please?
Yeah, I think like we were just super excited to see North Lane, and as we've spoken about going to live shows, we want to do that more because it's such a good boost of inspiration and like motivation to keep going doing what we're doing.
And it's
for
just fun,
networking
man.
as
I
well.
feel like I've been locked in my house the past 2 years. Like I
think everyone
barely go
feels
out.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
So it'd be nice. Like I think having that cancelled was just sort of like, okay, wow, like
for the second time.
we got it taken away again.
Yeah.
And we were talking about it a year ago. So it's crazy.
I think it was our like third podcast.
Yeah,
we were
it
talking
got
about
postponed or
saying
something
we
the
were gonna
first
go
time
to
or
it.
whatever. Yeah, that's crazy. So in terms of like adaptability outside of having to reschedule live shows, we have briefly spoken about last time adapting new ways of having income because you lose the income of shows. So if you want those answers, go
We're
and
on
listen
Twitch
to that.
now.
Oh, yeah. Wait, are we? Oh, yeah, we're on Twitch. So we're on Twitch. That's a good little housekeeping announcement we missed. But anyway.
Adaptability and also all parts of life too. It's not just like even music related. Like I've had times where like me leaving the army was a really adaptability moment.
We're good at this word, eh?
Dude, like,
Pick the wrong word.
So yeah, and it was like one of the biggest things I had to learn was that you can't speak to people. I'll say civilians because that's sort of like the terminology that even I'm a civilian now. Like going from army soldier to civilian, you can't talk to people the way that you talk in the army. It just people will literally start fucking crying. Like the army is so just freaking straight to your damn point. Like there's no messing around. There's no bloody beating around the bush as they say. Like. And we swear a lot, and we be very direct. And when I transitioned out and got a job at just a normal electronic engineering place, and I was just doing like warehousing stuff. Yeah, I was just talking to people, and I got pulled into HR like 2-3 times, and I'm like, what? I haven't done anything, but it was just like having to adapt to like, this is what life was. You're not in that life anymore. You're now in this life. Adapt. Yeah. Pull your head in and change. So
I've heard that a lot. Similarly, like compared to going on tour. I was gonna say from personal experience, but yeah.
Well, you've been on tour DJing.
True, but this is like I'm more so in terms of a band because I'm talking about and what I've heard from various different people talking about the subject is like the camaraderie that you build from being locked in a confined space like a van on tour for so many months. You sort of, it's like being, I guess, in the army or stationed somewhere where you're just like, you're all together all of the time and you have to adapt to each other's, living situations and whatever.
Whoever you're with is your only constant at that time.
That's right.
Everything else is changing around you. So it would be us three. We're the only thing staying stable.
Yeah.
In each other's lives at that moment.
That's right. And then coming back from that, like, to real life, coming and going from a tour cycle where you're playing a show, driving, sleeping, playing a show, whatever, it's then you're coming back to real life and you're like doing your washing and
being able, you'd also have to be able to adapt to when you're doing smaller shows, when you're just starting touring. Like you're big enough to go on tour, but not big enough to be like, we all get one bedroom at a hotel each. Like you're not that big, right? You'd have to adapt to like living with each other in the same bloody van or small bus or small. If it's one, we'd rent one room that we'd all share out and then different schedules.
Taking shifts on driving and stuff like that.
Yeah, Jordan wakes up fucking 5 a.m. and I'm wanting to sleep in till like 7:30 and then he's up like, making noise. I'm just
doing yoga.
What is it called? I'm saying just nonsense right now. We don't know. I'm just like guessing. But it's like, like it could be that. And then I'm like getting angry, like, he's making all this noise. I want to sleep. And we'd have to like find out like where we all adapt to like being able to live in close quarters for like 3 months as we tour.
And you would have got that in the army, I suppose, in training and stuff. Like obviously,
the good thing about the army
you're
is
not in the trenches.
No, in the army, everyone does the exact same thing. So no matter what your schedule it is, you don't have a schedule. The army has the schedule, and you follow that. So it's actually easier because everyone just follows what they're meant to do. But having to go into like our life that we're in now, it's like I can sleep until 9 if I want to. No one's telling me what to do.
Yeah, I'm not going to come in and yell at you that your bed's not made
get up
perfectly.
45-degree angle. Yeah, hospital corners. Oh my god! Imagine. I'm having PTSD now.
Okay, sorry.
But like, you definitely have to have that adaptation of like, okay, we know that like Jordan does this and he likes this, so and Morgan's like this and Cam's like this, so we'd have to like respect who we are as people and then figure out like a middle ground of being able to do that, which I'd be keen as when we go on tour to like
That'd be great.
to figure all that out too. Yeah. One thing we do have in common that as a constant is I know for a fact we'll all be bringing our skateboards.
Yes,
that's very true.
Doing like every skate park in every town that we like tour in would be like sick. I would love that, especially if we went to Canada or America or something.
That would be really cool. Yes. I reckon you'd end up like hiding my sticks from me or something because I'm so fucking annoying.
Toss them out the window.
Yeah, like I'd be like, guys, where's my practice pad? What practice pad? It's like you're literally tapping on it 24/7. As long as we had a PlayStation crammed into the back of this tiny secondhand car that we've rented,
versus each other on FIFA
Yeah.
and Tekken and Mortal
Yeah.
Kombat and shit.
Oh my
That'd be
God,
mad.
that'd actually be sick. That's a good idea.
I want to get a van now.
Damn it.
Yeah, just sort of use touring
DV on the side.
Australia
That'd be sick.
nationally. Yeah, I don't know. We'll talk soon.
But yeah, I think that's pretty good. So, if you didn't have a story, Morgs, I'm happy
have a
to
story.
tell one. Oh, you got one? All right.
Well, we can both tell a story.
Story.
This is a funny
time.
story time.
No, you got to sing. That sounds like good story time.
He's harmonizing.
All right,
Alright.
go.
Anyway, this is a story about how I hurt myself whilst dancing. Like, pretty seriously hurt myself whilst dancing. Because
That already sounds like a Florida man injures himself whilst dancing.
Exactly. This is like, I don't know. It's an odd story, which is very unique.
I'm excited.
So pretty much, when I was 19. I was really into like EDM events, and I almost went weekly with my old group of friends. And we would get very drunk and go and listen to some extremely loud dubstep music off our heads.
Yes.
That's sick.
Yeah, and
That's sick, bro.
That is sick.
so we used to go to this place called the Biscuit Factory. I'm pretty sure it's closed down now, but
Yeah.
good old Bicky. But pretty much what I was doing is I was stood in the crowd, like swinging my arms around like a madman, like you do to really loud music, which you can't really dance to. And I was locking my elbow out as I was like throwing it towards the stage, which you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to like let your
Were you
elbow.
fist bumping?
No, I was doing
Fist
like
bumping?
this.
This.
I know people on
He's
the.
saluting.
I know people
What the
on.
hell is that?
Like it's what you do.
Have you seen
Everyone
Fisher?
was doing it.
I don't go to EDM shows.
Yeah.
I hate that shit.
It's like that, but you don't.
My elbow's already sore.
Yeah, so we were doing that, but I was locking my elbow out on my right arm, and I did it a bit too hard, and my arm flew backwards.
You dislocated your elbow.
I hyperextended my elbow backwards,
Yeah.
and thankfully I was way too drunk and couldn't really. The adrenaline didn't really kick in, and I was like, I couldn't feel it. I was just looking at it. I'm like, this does not look right. I walked to my friend. I'm like, does this look okay to you? And he's like, no, not at all. He was really worried. Then the story gets worse. Instead of going to look for medical help, I wanted to continue dancing. So I sat down in this like scummy old chair that had the arm like ripped out of it from someone picking at it.
Oh,
And it was like concaved in. So I put my arm on it and just hammered it back into place.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, it was pretty horrendous. And then I got
God.
straight back
Makes
to
me feel
dancing
weird.
for the rest of the night until 4 a.m. when I then decided, yeah, this really hurts now. And then went up to the bar and asked for some ice, and they were like, you should have come here immediately. Like, that was not okay. And then I ended up going to the like medical center in the valley after that and got put up in a sling. And yeah, I feel like it's a unique story because you don't hear many people who can hurt themselves in that way from
That's
just
very
flinging
that's
your
very
arms
true.
around like that.
When you fist too hard.
Exactly.
The whole time it was just on the tip of your tongue. You're like, I want to say it.
I'm just like, I need to say it. I
there
need
you
to
go.
say it.
There's a short story
Okay,
that
so
I thought was pretty funny.
That's so.
That
That's
I could share
That
on
makes
this
me feel
podcast.
weird, Morgan.
Yeah,
I
it-
hate
it-
hearing
it was
injured
a bit
And
stories.
how did that story affect your life?
Yeah, how did you adapt
How
to that
did you- have
situation?
you changed?
That was just a funny story. It
All
wasn't,
right,
it
there you
wasn't an
go.
adaptive
Doesn't-
story.
You know, when you drink now, you don't go, oh, I'm not going to go as hard because, last time I fucking did this. So you have
Actually,
a bit more
no,
wits
yeah,
about you.
yeah,
Like,
that has actually
there anything
changed.
positive?
I don't dance like an idiot anymore
Yeah.
and dance dangerously.
Everything that happens to us, there's always a takeaway from it.
Yeah,
That you go, all right,
never
well,
really thought about the takeaway I've had from that, but
That's funny.
there you
as.
go. There's my story.
There it is.
We can add another one if you want, because mine was quite short.
That's all right. Well,
Really-
Cam said he's got one. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, if you want, it's not a funny or happy story.
doesn't have to be. It's.
depressing and
Let's go.
it's gonna bring
Let's
the mood down.
let's bring the mood down. Go on.
No, it's actually not depressing.
All
It's
right.
just scary. So, as the boys would know, I have a crazy intense fear of like water, and I will go swimming, but I will not go over like my hips. I'll go to like my hips, maybe like my chest area, and that's as long as my feet are on the ground, I'm all good. But I hate swimming, hate water. I don't have an intense fear of water. I have an intense fear of drowning. Like I don't know if in a past life I
Yeah.
fucking
I feel
drowned
like
or
that's
something.
pretty
like,
rational.
but mine's like
Just more than usual.
Yeah, like I just can't. I won't go on a boat cruise or anything unless it's
Has
like
it always been like that?
Yeah.
Since like you're a kid.
I did swimming lessons as a kid, and I wasn't really scared of the water because I didn't have the understanding of what drowning was. And then I've had a bunch of experiences where I've nearly drowned like 2 or 3 times, and then now it's just like I just don't.
Right. So going through those experiences
is what made it. Yeah. And I go I'll go on a boat if it's in a lake because I can see the land right there. So if it's sunk or whatever reason, I could just swim to the land, but I won't go in the ocean. It has to be a lake where I could see the land right next to me. And I won't go diving, like scuba diving. I would never do that.
Do you snorkeling? Because close to the shore and stuff?
Like snorkeling where you're on the top of the water and you're just looking down. Yeah, that's fine because I'm
just
breathing.
Float there and you breathe and shit.
So that'd be all right. So it's not too bad. But the reason why I have this is there's been times where, I have ADHD, obviously. So when I was a kid, I was really curious. Like, I would just run off, wouldn't tell my parents what I'm doing. They'd turn around for 1 second and I'd be like, I'd just run down the road. I took my dad's motorbike out and rode it once when I was like 7 years old.
Oh my God.
And then like, I just grabbed this motorbike and just took off. My dad's like sprinting for me down the road. And I'm like 6 years old on this freaking Harley because I just like sat on it and pulled it.
Oh my God.
Like just no fear, Like no fear. But so we're camping with a bunch of like family friends and stuff, and then I just walked off, and I was like, because I wanted to look at like the lake or whatever I was doing, and then there was like this hill, and it was like for all those rocks that are covered in like moss, that green like really slippery. It's like moss, yeah. So like I didn't know that it was like slippery or anything. It just looked like grass to me. And then I was like standing on, then I slipped, and I slid all the way down this like rocky, mossy hill, and then landed in the water. And then the water was instantly deep. There was no shore there. It was like straight down. It was a lake.
Wow.
And then I'm like, I didn't know how to swim properly, so I'm panicking. I'm like kicking and screaming, and my head's going down under the water, and I'm kicking myself back up to the surface, and I'm trying to grab onto like this rock to like hold me up, but because it was so slippery, I kept slipping. And then I like went back under the water, and then I like went up again, and then I'm like fucking like panicking like crazy because I'm like kicking and trying to swim, but like my body just kept going under because I didn't have the form. I didn't know how to like tread water like calmly. Like I'm just kicking and I'm like doing enough to stay above water, but I'm getting tired and fatigued, and my head's going deeper and deeper each time.
Jeez.
And then like I went like that, and I hadn't reached the top yet, so I inhaled all this water, like half water, half air, and then I was like coughing up like water out of my like lungs essentially, and then like someone heard me screaming and like came down and threw me like a rope, and then I like grabbed the rope, and then he pulled me up, and then like I remember just being like so fucking scared of water ever since then, and being like, dude, I'm not
surprised
like,
at all.
Yeah,
that's interesting because like yours is like obviously for obvious reasons about like drowning. Like I think there's other people that have fears of just the deep water and the unknown about it, and like going, I just don't know what's under here.
Yeah.
And they don't necessarily think about the swimming aspect of it, but that's a crazy story.
I just don't want to drown. Like I would rather be burnt alive than drown. Like,
oh my goodness. Wow. Okay, well that's a really polarizing question, isn't it? Which would you rather? But anyway,
but yeah, so there was that, and then the other ones aren't as bad. But I had times where like I've, when you're friends, when you're playing little kids and you're in the water and you go, who can hold their breath the longest? Yeah. Like I've done that, and I've gone to the bottom of the pool and I'm like holding my breath, and I held it way too long till I was like just about to freaking go underwater, and I gone to swim up the top, and then my mate was swimming under me and he grabbed my leg and like pulled me down to like beat me to the top. Oh. So then I went like that because I had waited so long, and then I inhaled water again, and then I'm like vomiting up like water and dry reaching like onto the fucking ground after I got out. So there was like another time where just being in denial kid, not knowing what.
That happened to me too. Actually, it was held under for a while, but it was like it's fucking terrifying when you don't think you can get air out. It's like
it's just so and how that affected me, blah blah blah. Is just like now if I go to the beach or something, I don't like to let fear control me. I don't like knowing that there is something that stops me from doing something that could be enjoyable, or I don't like the idea that I'm not in control. I always want to be in control of everything, emotions or, experiences in life and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, I'm understanding that this fear is here and I know that it's there, but I'm not going to let it control me. I'm not going to be like, nah, I'm never going to the beach ever again. I'm like, no, I can go to the beach. I'm just going to stay feet on the damn sand, stay within the flag so there's no rip pulling me out or anything. And I can go for like not really a swim because I'm not swimming, but I can dip in the water and like chill there with my feet on the sand and like still experience stuff. But it definitely, how it affected me was just being like, always being wary of like what could happen and try not to be, because every time you hear a story where like someone like dies or something, and they're telling like the story of like what happened, like 9 times out of 10, it's like, oh, they just didn't think that anything would go wrong. They're like, let's go up this mountain and go up here. That'll be fun. And then they freaking get lost and then they die because no one found them or something. Like it's always just like not being aware of what the hell could happen.
That's true. And there's like so many things that could go wrong. But the thing is, like you said, you don't want to let the fear control you.
Yeah.
So you will still, like, you don't go out there thinking, oh, this, and this can happen. You go out there trying to enjoy what you're doing. And like you said, you can stay within your means, obviously, because of something that's happened previously. It's also good to try and face those fears if you can. Like, for me, I have a big fear of heights. So I regularly try and climb a tree, which sounds stupid, but it's like, when I'm up on the higher ones, I'm like, get the feeling of like, holy shit, I'm high up here, or at the top of a ramp for skateboarding or something. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like does that weird thing where it just feels like the ground's like going further away from you, and I just freeze up. But like you said, it's just like you just sort of feel that fear and go, okay, this is just fear, like whatever, and you talk yourself through it. And I end up just climbing the tree and then getting down and going, whew, like, I just conquered that, and it gives me that little bit of sort of confidence and having myself lost control for a second, but being okay with that and sort of, trying to manage the fear through it. So yeah, I think that's really cool, man. Really good takeaway, I suppose.
That's a very good story.
Yeah, it was.
Do you have any takeaways from like stuff that you've done where you've been like, oh, that was like real scary or like out of my comfort zone, and you had to like, probably performing on stage would have been one for you, right? Because
I wasn't so scared to perform on stage. It was more of just a learning experience, and then it was more you do it, and you don't go into it thinking I was going to do the best, and then I watch it afterwards and then learn from what I was doing wrong, and then try and incorporate that into the next one and keep building from doing that. That was my main takeaways from the stage thing. I wasn't so much scared to get on stage and do that, amazingly, considering my anxieties and stuff.
Was that just with the shit you've dealt with? I was thinking like that would be like really hard to like get up in front of people.
To start with was a bit like that for me. Like I was a bit of an anxious driver when I was just starting out, and because I'd had lessons and stuff, and it would take a lot of effort to get to the point where I was okay to go on the lesson. But I always did it in the end.
It's scary because you think like you're doing something that you don't know how to do in front of people. I always get that feeling. I did get it DJing because it's just me and everyone looks at you, and if I press the wrong bloody button, everything stops. And that accurately happened quite a lot. But like when you're in the band and stuff, like you said on stage, you kind of got eyes on everyone, not just you. So
I would be a lot worse if it was just me on stage. That would be rough.
Like imagine
like public speaking.
Like exactly. Something I really want to get into is like doing things like drum clinics and stuff, like, or doing master classes where I'll just sit up there and just sort of teach through something to a bunch of people. But having that thought of me sitting by myself in front of the drums with no music and just being like, raw as in front of probably all these other drummers, it's like that really scares me, but it's something I want to be able to do, so I'm gonna have to just try. But it's just putting yourself in that situation, getting through it, and then being like, whew, made it, I'm all good. Hell yeah. Well, boys, successful episode. We're going to be doing, I know we did speak about doing it fortnightly, but we've decided because we're going to be trying to pack some good content into each one, we're going to do it monthly.
And we're doing Twitches and tutorials and mixing.
That's the thing. So if you want to catch us in between these, jump on twitch.tv/Distorted Views Band. That is where we'll be streaming some stuff. We'll come up with a schedule eventually, but just We'll be posting about it on our other socials when we're going live. YouTube, we're trying to pump out stuff like you said, tutorials and all that. So any suggestions, as
Always
per usual,
accessible on Facebook.
send them in and give us a 5-star review on Apple if you're so kind, because that does wonders for us to find other people who may be interested in the crap that we talk about. So yeah, thanks very much. Chat to you guys in a month.
Bye.
Peace, guys.